Heidi, hi! Sorry, I'm in my dags today. It's actually quite cold in Sydney. Overnight just seems to have dropped in temperature quite dramatically. I guess we are in autumn, but we were sunbaking on the beach 2 weeks ago for Easter. And now I'm in long sleeve sweaters. I've got some exciting news to share with you all. I've been talking about this on my videos just over the last few days, and I wanted to introduce this amazing project to you on my birthday. So today is my birthday, and my good friends in Wollongong, Stephanie and Rory, sent me the piece of this incredible project. Ooh, this will be perfect. Oh, yes! Yes! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! It's the start of it! It's the start of it! Woohoo! So, let me introduce to you the global gratitude chain movement. These links are gratitude links, and they are mindful moments where people have stopped and written down on a link what they are grateful for in their life in that moment. And these links are then connected on a chain. So it's sisters and brothers side by side all over the world, connected through a mindful moment of gratitude. And research now indicates that gratitude, the practicing of gratitude each and every day, actually improves happiness and mental health by up to 25%. That is a significant benefit to our mental health, just by practicing every day what we're grateful for. And I'm sure you've heard of gratitude journals. I have one right here, which I write in quite regularly, and it's phenomenal. Because the thing is, if we're not grateful for what we have in our lives, how can we be grateful for the things that we hope to have in the future? You see, it's what Dr. Wayne Dyer always said, a disease of more. It's where we're always striving for something else, for something better. You know, new iPhones, new latest cars, bigger houses, and the list goes on. But yet, that will never be a fulfilling feeling, and it won't improve our mental health if we can't be grateful for what we have right now, which is our health, our family, a roof over my head right now, thank you Van Halen, and friends and family, connections. And that's what this is all about. It's about connecting the world through a mindful moment of gratitude. And so I want to read a couple out to you while I'm stapling. This one here says, I am grateful for my friends, family, and an education. I am grateful for my wonderful friends who support me since my husband has passed away. Wow. I am grateful for the fact that I have a home and family. What are you grateful for today? Maybe you'd like to share it in the comments. So I'm going to share with you how this incredible global gratitude chain movement started. Back in 2015, I was part of a children's show called The Dream Guards with my husband at the time. And we would go into schools with my amazing peace tools, empowering kids to stand up to bullying in a positive way. And the impact that show had on children and parents, teachers, and school principals was phenomenal. We performed our show in schools across Australia. We performed on cruise ships. We did lots of volunteering at events, and it was an incredibly meaningful and purposeful show. One day we had a showcase event to the community on the Gold Coast, and it was raising awareness about our show and trying to get some community support. We had local MPs attend this event and VIPs and so forth. But just prior to this event, I had some friends reach out to me. In fact, it was a father. One Saturday evening, he was completely beside himself because his daughter had been bullied for 9 months in her middle school year, year 9. She was 14 years old, and she was suicidal. He had heard about the Dream Guards, and he had been following us on Facebook, and he was a local community member in Varsity Lakes, which is where we were living. So he reached out to me and asked me how he could help his daughter, and if there were any tips or suggestions that I could suggest to help her get through this tough time, because he was very concerned about her mental health. And I offered to come to the family home the next morning, Sunday morning, and speak with their daughter. Brought with me to their home an amazing book that my girlfriend Karen Clark, who was on the sunny coast, had written, and it's called From Bully to Brilliant. So I laminated some affirmations, positive affirmations for their daughter to have on her mirror when she woke up each morning and got ready for school, that she'd read these and feel confident and better about her situation. I gave her a copy of this book, From Bully to Brilliant, and then I shared my story with her. My story about my childhood trauma, about witnessing the death of my mother, about having to live in 13 foster homes, and where I was bullied and abused for many years, even when I returned to my father after he was released from prison and back to the house where my mother was murdered. I was bullied in high school because kids would say to me, you're living in a haunted house and so forth. So I had a lot of bullying as a child. And of course, my name. That was a great reason to bully me as well. Anyway, I shared my story with their daughter. And at the end of sharing my story, she walked over to me with tears streaming down her face. And she hugged me. And she said, if you can get through all the things that you've been through in your life, I can get through this. And sharing this story gives me goosebumps every single time. So for her, this was a pivotal moment in her life, a defining moment she'll never forget. So because of the impact that this had on her life, she offered to volunteer at our community event. And I'd set up a number of activity tables for people that were coming into the community centre before our show started, just to entertain them, and some reflective mental health projects that they could work on before they sat down for our show. And one of these tables was a gratitude table, and it had pieces of paper that weren't laminated, these are laminated, pieces of paper and pens, and people would step up to the table and stop and take a mindful moment and write down what they're grateful for in their life. Their daughter decided she wanted to work on this table. She wanted to volunteer on this table. As the morning went on, a number of people were gathering at this table and writing down what they were grateful for in their life. And while they were doing that, she just started to randomly make these links into a chain. And she had it round her neck. It was a long one. She had it round her neck, and I looked over at her and I was like, wow, what an incredible idea to create a chain of gratitude. And that became the start of the global gratitude chain movement. I saw Leiana a number of years later. She was performing on her school stage in the school production, and she was shining like the beautiful diamond that she is. And I'll never forget how happy and how energized she came across that day on the stage. And it really had a significant impact on me in that moment, to see how much she'd turned her life around. And it made me feel like this is a project that needs to really be shared. So every time I spoke on the stage, and every time that we presented our DreamGuard show in schools, and Stephanie and Rory of Wollongong were an integral part of us getting on stages in the Wollongong, and they got us into radio stations, they got us in the newspaper to gain awareness about our empowering show, helping kids stand up to bullying, and the global gratitude chain movement. They were collecting links from local schools, they were getting on the train and sharing the project with random strangers. Before we knew it, we were getting links of gratitude from all over the world. China, Hong Kong, London, Singapore, New Zealand, New York, Bali, you name it. These links were coming in from all over the world. Whole schools were getting on board. I remember a school in Christchurch, and their whole entire school wrote a gratitude link each. And they were all black. to represent the All Blacks. Well, when I became homeless, I recognised that this global gratitude chain had to be stored somewhere. It was taking up a huge part of the house that I was renting and Airbnb. I had huge tubs of the chain, and I realised that I could no longer create the chain and store it. So I had the links, which I'd laminated, and friends had helped laminating these links, were in tubs, flat, because it was the only way that I could store the huge amount of links that I have. And then when I became homeless, of course, I couldn't take this gratitude chain and links with me in Van Halen. It just was not going to fit. So I reached out to some people who had supported the chain over these years, and a couple of amazing volunteers put their hands up to store the chain, store the links on my behalf. And one of those was Cara Robbins, so thank you, Cara. And now the chain and the links are moving on to a girlfriend on the Gold Coast, Nancy. And Nancy is just an amazing ambassador of mental health, and she is one of the most compassionate ladies I've ever met, and I couldn't think of a more worthy and kind person to be taking care of this project and storing it. So this chain is now 4.5 football fields long and growing every day. And back in 2018, I applied for a Guinness World Record for this chain. And it was declined because they came back and said that gratitude could not be measured on a chain. And so now I've realized that we need to reapply for a Guinness World Record as a paper chain. And the gratitude is something we discuss and talk about and share with the world. So that is the big plan. This year, we plan to have a community event on the Gold Coast where these links are going to be made into the chain. We have some links that are not laminated, so we have laminating sheets, and we need volunteers that are going to help us to laminate these links and then help create the chain. We're going to then take the whole chain onto the Surfers Paradise beachfront, and we are going to I guess ask the services of somebody who has a drone to get aerial footage of this chain on the beach. And we are going to measure the chain and then apply again to the Guinness World Records. Because I really believe that by connecting the world through an incredibly positive, impactful mental health project like this, where we are all taking a mindful moment to stop and think about something we're grateful for, is an incredibly purposeful legacy to leave future generations and to continue this legacy. So what I want to ask you is to get on board this amazing global gratitude chain movement and stop and take a mindful moment and think of something you are grateful for in your life. I will be putting all the details of the sizes of the links, and we laminate the links, so you just need to write it on a piece of paper. a certain size that I will be putting into the comments. I am yet to work out how I'm going to receive these links. So I have a couple of ideas. One is to get a PO box set up, and I don't know how exactly to go about doing that and what the cost of that is, but that can be one way that I could receive the links from you from all around the world and be a part of this amazing global gratitude chain project. Or whether it is a matter of me having the links and you send in what you want me to write on the gratitude chain, on the gratitude link. However, I do believe that the real mental health benefit is to stop, take out a pen and a piece of paper and actually write down what you are grateful for in your life. Has a lot more mental health benefits than me taking your message and writing it down. I would really like to hear your feedback on that. This is our project. It's a global project, and I will be sharing this project each time now that I am sharing my van life journey. The global gratitude chain is going to be part of each of my van life in Van Halen videos moving forward. I'm just a 50-something-year-old chick in Australia with an iPhone videoing my journey, but now with a positive global mental health initiative. So get on board the global gratitude chain movement, and thank you for subscribing to my channel.